The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the New Media Factory. Some programs on this network might include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi all, welcome to another episode of the theBobberyCast. I don't know what number it is anymore, 12, 27, 99, 18, I have no clue, but since I haven't gone to the hairdresser yet, it still must be the first season. Today with us we have, surprise, Jay could make it once more, and then we have two guests who came flown in earlier this afternoon. Mind introducing yourself, because I told you before I know what I'm talking about, but that was a lie.
Alright, well, my name is Bowei Gai. I'm from the World Startup Report. I'm a serial entrepreneur from Silicon Valley, and now I'm on a journey across 29 countries and 36 cities to understand what's it like to do startups in every place.
I'm Tina Amper. I work with Bowei, and I'm also the founder of TechTalks.ph.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
No, thanks, we're going to start this game until the show is done if nobody gives in, but you flew in, normally you don't do any interviews on the first day, and nevertheless, here you are.
No worries.
And then additionally, you come here and it's not what can we ask you of, how are the Philippines, the startup scene, you've only landed here, you know. Please, because I need something new tomorrow from content.
We'll talk about that after the show.
Awesome, that's a good deal. So, 29 countries,
yes.
36 cities, Philippines, the second country you visit?
No, this is, I believe, my 6 or 7 cities so far.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to India, Australia, Colombia, Chile, Peru, Argentina, and Brazil before coming here. I don't know what number that was.
Do you need an assistant to carry your luggage or something? Because
No, I have just very small luggage, and
it's okay. If it's smaller, I don't mind it. It's easier to carry.
But I do need help, planning all the events, figuring things out, because it's actually very, very hard trying to organize events with all the people around the world.
Yeah.
Every city, literally, I parachute into a city, and then something just magically happens. I don't know why. Maybe Tina can explain how this process works.
It's easy. Bowei has a lot of contacts all over the world, and before he comes to the country, he gets introduced by his friends from Silicon Valley and all over the world as to who the players are in that country. And we work together and figure out who he can meet with. And the requirement is he meets different sectors of the startup ecosystem, from the founders all the way to the VCs and the funders. It's a lot of fun. He's very easy going.
For me, it's a lot of fun, but I don't know how you make it happen. It's just magic. I appear in the country and there'll be an agenda with all the events.
And then you think I came to the Philippines, was going to see the beach, and oh Tina, what the heck did you just do?
I saw the Philippine agenda, and I was a little bit surprised. I didn't know there are so many activities happening in this place, but it's good. It's good.
There's a good buzz going at the moment.
Yeah.
So you yourself, you've gone through all the paces of startup scene. Mind telling us a little about your background for the people who don't know you?
Sure. I was born in China, moved to the U.S. I went to school in a place called Carnegie Mellon University, and while I was in school, I actually worked at a company, internet company you might have heard of, called Apple.
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 What's that?
They make this thing called the iPhone. A few. Yeah, I see a few people having.
That's a small phone.
Actually, I was on the very first generation of iPhone team. I was on the original iPhone team at the time, and the original Apple TV team.
So can you please tell us if a real TV will come out?
I cannot tell you that right now. I will get into a lot of trouble, but honestly, I don't know.
It's actually fun you say that, because the place where we are hosted together with New Media Factory, the podcast network, which you can check out at NMF Network, theBobberyCast.tv is at Beyond the Box, which is one of the major Apple stores here in the Philippines, or at least in Manila. And before advertising kicks me up the bottom after the show, check out their website and their Facebook page for the latest promos. Okay, now you saw what I did there, you can continue. Sorry for the commercial interruption.
No, not a problem. So, I work in these teams and I just gain a lot of really good experience because these are literally the best of the best. And what happened after that was very interesting because I actually got kicked out of Apple by my manager. And his words were, you have too many ideas. You can't stay here anymore. You need to go out there and build your own company. So that's how I got started, was this whole startup thing. I tried things in the past, but very, very unsuccessfully. My first small success came out of getting kicked out of Apple.
So for you, the motivator, the trigger was really like someone telling you, hey, we're sick of all your ideas, why don't you make some happen now?
Yeah, literally. Just get out
That's
there.
also an experience, actually.
Well, at first I was a little bit offended because he said he would not take me back to Apple, but I was like, I'm still young, I can try this. And the next thing you know, I built one of the largest, the most popular application for camera back in the jailbreak days. This is before App Store. I think at one point we had about 800,000 users when there were only 3 million iPhones.
Wow.
Considering that only about 25% of the phones were jailbroken, and you need to be jailbroken in order to use our application. We had about 100% of the market share.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was a pretty good monopoly, and when we finally launched an App Store about a year later, we had a fight with Apple. They wouldn't let us on. When we finally got on a year later, we made about $250,000 in about 2 weeks.
Nice.
So it was a very good boost of confidence. You know what, you can actually do something cool. That's when I started my next company. It's called Card Munch. It's a very simple application that allows you to take a picture of a business card and turn that into a contact on your phone. About in 2011, that's when we sold the company to LinkedIn. It's a business networking website. It's very, very popular in the US. We sold that to LinkedIn, and then the next thing we know, we went from a 3-person company into a 1,000-person company. Just like that. And then the next day, they actually held an emergency all-hands meeting, and they said, "Guess what? We're gonna go IPO."
Wow.
So we went from a 3-person company to a 1,000-person company to going to a public company that soon turned into a 3,500-person company. It was the biggest transition that you can imagine. And after about 1 year and 9 months of working there, I left LinkedIn and then decided, I've been very fortunate in my life so far. I would love to do something to, number one, take a break for myself from doing startups. And number two is to give back to the community. And I remember that about a year ago, I went to China for fun. And I met a lot of really great people because I was interested in learning about China because I know nothing about it. Even though I'm Chinese, I have relatives there. I actually know nothing about the Chinese startup ecosystem. It's just a different world. Because I just sold a company, a lot of people introduced me to the right people. I got to meet small founder all the way to people who have sold the companies for billions and billions of dollars. And I got a very good view of China. And when I came back, I wrote something called the China Startup Report. And then that's what was my gift back to my friends who made all these introductions. I sent the email out saying, "Hey guys, here's a report I wrote together for what I learned on the trip." And I went to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. By the time I woke up at 8, it was the most popular presentation on the internet that day. So that ended up getting more than 100,000 views, and that doesn't even tell us the full story because around 5 p.m. that day, the Chinese people woke up, and just like the way I described it in my report, the Chinese people steals everything that you have. They stole my report and republish it in almost every major media without my permission. It's okay though. I'm happy, but it's a very, very true. They'll steal everything, and so that's probably another few 100,000 views. So it was overnight became the most popular presentation. And moving on, I thought that people were gonna take my model and do it for every single country. It's so popular. People love this kind of stuff. Why wouldn't people want to do it? Then I realized, it's actually not that easy to do something like this. Number one, need to have time, you need to have money to travel around and do something like this. And you also need to have the connections.
Right.
You can't just expect to do a country's startup report without talking to the right people. And doing that for every country in the world, it's actually pretty hard.
It's daunting, yeah.
Yeah, it's very few people in the world actually have a connection, like a network like that. And like people like Dave McClure has it, but he's too busy to actually write something down. So I'm one of the few people that have this kind of connection, but at the same time, I'm actually free for the first time in my life. So if I don't do a project like this, I don't think it'll be done for a long time. So I decided to take a year off my life and just to give back to the community.
That's awesome, a story.
Yeah. Are you a developer or?
I'm everything.
Okay.
I will write code if you have to.
Yeah.
If I have to, but I'm very bad at it. I'm very bad at like marketing, but I'll do it. I'm very bad at cleaning bathroom, but I do it.
Yeah.
Actually, cleaning bathroom is probably one of my best skill out of all these things.
It's easier to know more than 80% or the 20% sufficient to
Yeah.
master 80% with cleaning
Just enough to get you
bathrooms.
by at a cocktail party, right? But no, I'm sure the viewers are curious about where you started as a, before you worked at Apple. I mean,
Sure.
as a kid, were you always into technology? Were you developing?
I mean, like, look, I'm Chinese. Okay, we're all good at math.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So by like definition, we're gonna go into engineering, which I did. So that gave me a little bit of credibility with people. But I actually couldn't get a job because I was actually very bad in school. I don't know about the system here, but I was a B- C+ student, which in the US term you can get an internship. For me to get an internship at Apple, it was not for me to just interview with the company and then go through a few rounds of interview. What I had to do was I actually had to look up a database of all of our school alumni, and then look for every one of them that has ever worked at Apple, past or present. Then I stalk them to figure out what they do in life, and then personalize an email to every one of them, telling them I need to work for Apple. You don't understand. I need to work for Apple. Like there's a reason. There's a passion. There's something happening there. Like you don't understand. I have to work for Apple. I did that for almost every single person.
Yeah.
And I think out of all of those people, one person replied and said, "Okay, I'll talk to you. On my way home, you can walk me to my car."
Nice. So you basically hacked your way into getting a job at Apple.
He was so impressed during the walk to his car. He introduced me to his buddy at Apple. And just after one chat with that guy, he was so impressed that he ended up just calling the HR. And 40 minutes after that call, the interview, I got a call from Apple HR and says, "You're hired."
You're hired. Nice.
So I went from someone that nobody will hire into just getting an immediate hire from Apple. So it was very fortunate, but at the same time it was not very fortunate. It was a lot of hustle, because I'm completely unqualified for the job.
Right.
But if you just hustle enough, then sometimes you get lucky.
Right.
And once I have the credential from Apple, I go into startups where I'm completely unqualified to do, but I just keep on hustling. And then I get lucky again. So it's a lot of luck and a lot of hustle at the same time.
Well, some would say that that's a key component of working at a startup, or you're starting your own company.
Yeah.
Hustle is probably about 95%, 99%.
People talk about it a lot, and people don't do enough of hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think that the experience at Apple was valuable for your next, startup life?
Yeah, I think working at Apple or any of the big company, Google, Facebook, is important because it gives you almost a seal of approval, a badge of honor, saying that you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Having worked at Apple, especially the iPhone team, you can go to any company, you can get a job. And it just gives you the credibility. And now you say, okay, I want to put all that aside. I want to go into startup. And people are like, maybe he's up to something good. So did I learn that much from Apple? Technically, probably not that much. But it was more about the confidence, in yourself, knowing that you can work with the best of the best, you can figure things out and you can build the best product.
Right.
I think that was my biggest gain from working out.
Okay.
And now you're here, having traveled 6-7 countries already. What do you expect every time you come in a country? Like, and recently we had Christina Laskowski and Jojo Flores on the Philippines, and on the show when they were here in the Philippines, and I, for example, made a reference to, I think it was around 2005, 2000 up to 2008, when American VCs wanted to literally get into the Indonesian market, and that was a total fail because they didn't understand it.
Sure.
I think we had a discussion recently when I came here in the Philippines. Yeah, SMS is that. I was on Cake and everything. You know, the first messenger apps on iOS. And then, like, you come here and you suddenly realize, like, wait, SMS is really big here. Like, after a while, when you're integrated, like, you see something totally different, other things matter. How is that for you? Like, traveling around, being born in China, having built companies, worked at the major companies in the US, having survived gone through one of the most successful IPOs in recent times of online startups with LinkedIn.
Well, just going to every country, what I learned so far is every country is completely different from one another. And it's really hard to go into a country and already know what's going on in the country.
Yeah.
No matter how much you read. No matter how much you read, it doesn't prepare you for what you're about to see. Especially when you actually get in and really get to talk to the right people. You're like, oh, so this is what the country is all about. So that takes a little bit of time. Like, for the first few days, you're just in this really confused state. It's like, what is going on in this country? Like, my God, this like hurts my head. Like, just understand it. Like, for example, Argentina, like, it's crazy. Like, literally, the country is crazy. The country is having like I don't know, like 25% inflation rate. Like, the people had to adjust their salary like twice a year. It's like how do you do work in this country? Like, the US dollar is $5 for exchange rate, but everybody uses this black market, which is $8. And then like how the company has to go and just take their money, put it Eurogray, and then like transfer it out, and then it's just like this complete mess. And it's like, how do you guys work in this place? This is crazy. And your head is really hurts for the first few days. And then, like, I think on the third day or fourth day, that's when you have this epiphany. Like, oh, I got it.
So basically, the first days here, you will get a headache from traffic.
I'm kind of used to it. There are a lot of big parking lots around the world. That's what I call them. Like, I think India has a very big parking lot. It's called Mumbai. And then Brazil has a very big parking lot, Sao Paulo. So this is very normal to me.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's you guys will give me some headache. Try to understand what's actually happening in this country. But it's okay. I think after the first few days, I'll understand a little bit better. And then, once I understand this, like, how the people really act, what the culture is, then I can like really get into ask the right questions. And then like hopefully by the end of this trip, I'll put together like a imagery of what this country is all about and then share it with the rest of the world.
Right. So when did you fly in, by the way? You flew in?
I flew in, I think, around noon today.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you can.
His trip was crazy as well. They flew him the wrong way of the world round.
Oh.
From Brazil, they made him fly over Europe.
Oh, okay.
So to Frankfurt, Bangkok, and then here. But it's okay, it was in business class.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So I was going to comment, I was just talking to the interns earlier that he's not shy about saying, I flew business class, but the Filipino culture generally would be like, oh yeah, I had a good flight.
Okay.
There's just a lesson in culture there.
That's yeah. I feel like people are very, very shy here, and we were just talking a little bit earlier with one of the interns here, and the topic was if you're very good at something, you don't say it. And it's like I don't think I can do something, even though you know you can.
Yeah.
Whereas in America, we usually do the opposite. We say we're number one.
Yeah.
We're number one.
I think that's
world's
Asian, right?
best.
And then comes that European reality check, guys. Your economy is worse than
The
ours.
European goes like, who cares, man?
And then you have that French guy somewhere there. We don't listen to you. You're French.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah, you know, but it's very very good for startups because unless you have the confidence to say I'm gonna do it, and have people believe in you, like it's not gonna happen. It's really not gonna happen. You have a lot less chance of succeeding. For example, the World Startup Report. If I was very humble, I was like, you know, maybe I'll go around the world to do maybe like 5 to 10 countries and then tell the world that maybe I can do this report around the world. No, the first thing I said, like, this is a week after I quit my job at LinkedIn. I announced it to the world, to like most of my friends actually. First, hey guys, I'm gonna do this thing called World Startup Report. I want to travel around the world to all the countries and write about what's happening in the world. Okay, let's get started. Like without any, I guess, credibility, without any like in-depth like an analysis of how I'm actually going to do it. As it turned out, this trip was completely unreasonable. Completely unreasonable. I under budgeted how much time it's going to take, and so it's taking about 4 times as long as I originally planned. It's about 8 to 10 times more costly than I originally planned. And some of the things I said originally, I was going to go to a country, I'll just plan my own meetings, and I'll meet other people, document everything, write the reports before I even leave the country, so that people can read it before I leave it. It's completely unreasonable. But you know, I just said I was going to do it, and people believe in it, and people actually they put the support behind it. This is great, and that actually was what made this trip work. Without those people putting the support behind me, I don't think I would have gotten all the right meetings, getting connected to the right people. So that would have made this even more impossible. Right now, like I'm getting all the meetings, I just don't have time to actually write everything down. I can publish a report on time. But you know, I'll fix that problem later. I'll fix these small issues later. At least I'm gonna, you know, do this world start. I know I can do it. It's just gonna take a lot longer. But if I hadn't made all these ridiculous claims about doing this world startup report and having the confidence to actually do it, I don't think it'll get done.
Yeah.
So basically, perseverance, determination, hustling, and hack your way around.
Right.
And being very ignorant.
Right.
Like, don't believing in yourself.
Yeah.
I was so stupid to say that I can actually do this. Like, what was I thinking?
The beautiful part is the response from the global startup community has been amazing. All kinds of people support him. It's so easy to arrange appointments for him because they know him, and he's being introduced by some of the big people in the world. So, I mean, the popular people in the startup community, traditional business people also want to talk to him because they want to follow the startup rule. It's been amazing. It's easy for me to arrange meetings and to make sure that he meets the entire section of the startup ecosystem, because the startup community in Nepal may be small, but they're determined and persistent just like him. So.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm eager to learn about what's going on in other parts of the world. Definitely in places like Nepal, where it's not really your marquee location for startups. But I'm wondering, did you have any kind of preconceived ideas about
Nepal?
the Philippines, for example?
Okay.
Since it's your first day here, well, what did you what did you prepare for? What did you expect? What did you hear about the Philippine startup ecosystem from elsewhere?
Can I go into Nepal for a quick second?
Sure.
I think I thought you were gonna ask me Nepal, and I just had a really funny answer to that question. My preconceived notion about Nepal was that I didn't know they had computers. I mean, I'm ignorant American. Like, I really don't know they had computers. And
it's okay, a level of ignorance is fine. I'm pretty sure that when Steve Jobs announced the iPad and said it's magical, that he didn't expect people were going to play Candy Crush, hold them like that, or racing games and everything. I'm totally sure he was ignorant about that outcome.
Yeah, it's okay. We're ignorant. The reason why I didn't go to Nepal is because one of my friend's company got acquired in the Silicon Valley, by a company in Nepal.
Wow.
it just blew my mind. I blew all my preconceived notion away about this country. I was like, I guess I have to go there. That's why I'm going to Nepal. About Philippines, why am I going to the Philippines? Honestly, it's probably because your population. You have a very, very big population. You're one of the biggest in Asia, and I know nothing about you guys. I guess a few things I can think of on top of my head is you're like very fluent in English, and you're like fairly centrally located among all of the other countries.
Right.
And aside from that, I honestly don't know too much about Philippines. And I'm very curious to learn more about it. And I think someone else also recommended for me to come here. All of my friends, when I made the initial announcement, I was going to go to a few places. Someone made an announcement saying that you should come to Philippines. So I just put it on the list. And little did I know, I'm going to meet Tina here, and then this is turning out to be a very, very good trip.
As everybody knows, in Silicon Valley, there's 1 million Filipinos there, so it's easy for Bowei to get to know Filipinos. I should talk about how we ended up working together.
Yes.
I was planning my dream event in Boracay, and I saw his press release about the World Startup Report, and I noticed that he was ending his trip in Singapore. So I don't know Bowei, but I sent him an email saying,
Do you
hey.
want to come to the beach?
And of
We've
course,
got
the next
beaches.
day he said yes. So I said, oh my God, I guess my event's gonna happen because he's coming. And then I put a PS, do you know what you're doing? Traveling to 29 countries in 9 months? He's like, no. So we ended up talking. I said I could help you out because, I was kind of like on a little sabbatical here in the Philippines. I had worked in the States for a long time. I came back last year. So giving back to the community was my thing. So I wanted to help him. I also wanted to help my community, and I knew that I would learn a lot by working with Bowei. It's been great fun.
Little did she know, she had actually saved me because I had no idea what I was doing. I landed in New Delhi, India on January 1st, 2013 this year. And I had no friends to pick me up from the airport. I had no hotel. I was completely stranded without a phone, without internet. It's like absolute nightmare. And I didn't even have electricity. The power went out more than once. This is just an absolute nightmare, and I had nothing planned. And then Tina came in and started helping out, and within that 1 week, I think we planned 5 events in New Delhi, and we brought in people like the founder of SlideShare, the head of Google India. So when we were meeting the top 3 angels of the entire country, and we went from absolutely no idea what we were doing into just completely turning around and having this very organized group. And we actually follow the same model for every city we traveled to. It was that successful. So a lot of times you don't know what you're doing, but as an entrepreneur, you figure things out, you get lucky along the way, and I think
you learn. You fail and you learn.
I think you're gonna do fine. Yeah.
Let's talk about Card Munch.
Sure.
You were acquired in 2011.
Yes.
Right. Did you have any business model in mind for Card Munch when you were acquired?
Sure.
At that time?
Sure. I guess I can talk a little bit about how Card Munch works.
Okay.
So the way Card Munch works is as follows. So you send in a picture of your business card, and instead of using computer OCR, optical character recognition, we actually send it to someone else to actually hand type this card in. And the reason for that is being that OCR is still a very primitive technology. It's about, at best, let's say 90% accuracy, which means for a 10-digit phone number, you get 1 wrong digit every time, and that's not acceptable for contact information, which is why we opted to do it by human, and we have a very, very, very large workforce, bigger than LinkedIn, Facebook, all of those companies combined. And to help you with to type the business card. And initially, we charge about 25 to 33 cents per card. But what you realize is that not all the business cards is going to be different. Pretty soon, once you do a lot of business cards, you're going to have duplicates.
Right.
And when you have duplicate, you don't have to do it. So it might be that your cost is maybe 20 cents in the beginning, and after a while it'll be 15 cents, and then eventually your cost will be 0 because you'll have index the world business card.
Right.
And then, but at the same time, you can still keep your price high at 33 cents a card.
That's right.
Because people are used to paying that. They don't know that you're taking the human element out of it. You're just doing what you're doing, and we think we can actually scale it up that way and just make a lot of money by just doing these business card transcription. And then we're thinking about building a social network on top of business card transactions.
Right.
That's where we're headed. But LinkedIn is like, you know what, you guys are doing some really interesting stuff, and would you be interested in getting acquired? It's like, sure, let's go talk.
So basically, you were building the modern white pages very much. You had the index of the world's business cards.
I guess in a way, but on top of that, like who's giving what to whom?
Right.
So not only do you know the white pages, but you also know the relationship between the people. So these are not just like I'm gonna add you on Facebook, I'm gonna add you on LinkedIn. These are actually like face-to-face interaction. Those are like a stronger bond between two people, and you can really analyze what is really happening behind the scenes. So that's what we're hoping to do.
That's great. So there's a lot of valuable data in the back end too, right?
Yeah.
Not just the face value transcription business.
But to the user, it's great because now they can index a business card. Like I have always a stack of business cards in my pocket. And this is painful.
Oh yeah, I use Card Much, and I've taken up the habit of as soon as I get home, let's say, start stacking them and taking snapshots.
Yeah.
Works pretty well.
I'm still waiting for everyone just to show a QR code on their phone.
You're waiting for a Card Munch version on the Android, right?
Yeah.
No, I've got something with OCR, it's annoying, it does work, but I'm different. You mentioned it's not like adding on Facebook, I will add people on Facebook once I've actually met them. Because sometimes on Facebook, it's not like Twitter. Well, I was gonna say on Twitter, I know it's public, I don't say anything stupid, but that would be a stupid thing to say. But on Facebook, sometimes I'm a little more direct, and I prefer to hide that. Yes, there are screen caps and everything, if you put it online, it's public, but less get seen of my stupidity. So I really first need to meet the person before I add them on Facebook.
Sure.
But did you hit any kind of privacy issues with regard to the cards being transcribed?
We actually never had any major privacy concerns because we asked the workers to sign NDAs.
Right.
So that was pretty good.
Yeah. Besides, having a business card, the premise is that
you were giving it away to people. Yeah. I mean, some people are concerned about it, but it's very rare, and those people don't really use our software anyway. For the people that use the software, they just want to have something that can easily index for business cards.
So once you get acquired and then working for LinkedIn, how did that change the focus? How was the experience at the startup? Was it now the modern term, it's acquire, I'll soon be gone because team ethos, the ontology, methodology may have changed?
So LinkedIn largely left the CardMunch team alone. They let the CardMunch team do their own thing. The product, is ran by the same people, and it's just that after a while, I had to take a different role because apparently they already had a CEO in LinkedIn.
That was not like you can join us, you become CEO.
I kind of forgot about that. So they already had CEO. They already had janitor. My janitor job was taken as well. The marketing job was taken. The PR and so you sort of either fit into product or engineering. And if you put me into either one of them, I'm not as good, but I'm very good at doing the overall role. So I had to find another niche for myself within the company, which is why it's helped the company started to build an internal incubator called the LinkedIn Incubator. So that was pretty fun. And after building that, I thought it was time for me to take the next step because I'm still young. I can still do a lot. And I was thinking about doing something, and then somehow decided to take a year off to do this World Startup Report project.
You also get some solid backers for World Startup Report.
Yes, I'm very fortunate. So the backer for the startup report for right now is we have the organization is 500 startups. Startup Weekend, which is about 200 plus countries. Both of you guys are wearing the Startup Weekend shirt right now. You guys are everywhere.
I know.
I just got a shirt from the Startup Weekend. One of the organizers started in Tunisia. I actually didn't know where Tunisia was on the map. I had to ask, is he in Africa? I said, yeah, he's in Africa.
When you decided to come to the Philippines, did you know where we were?
I actually know where Philippines was because I know where Thailand. Yeah, and then I started Digest. It's another great organization that has like 250,000 people around the world, startup enthusiasts, and those are very, very good connections. And on top of that, some of the most important people backing this is number one is Dave McClure. He's the founder of 500 Startups, and he's traveling all over the world, talking to startups, understanding what's going on. So he's a mentor. And then also Brad Feld. He's the author of Startup Communities.
Right.
He teaches you how to build a startup community. And I read the book, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I can use his work so I don't have to think as much. So I went to talk to him, and then he was like, yeah, I'd love to bring you on and then help out with his trip. And then so having these people behind me, I can now literally knock on the door of any company in the world and get a meeting. So this is like once in a lifetime opportunity. And that's why I'm enjoying it so much, because not too many people can do something like this.
You're right about that. What's the agenda for you here in Manila when you?
I have no idea.
She hasn't told you yet.
So we're seeing you tomorrow, Globe Kickstart, and then tomorrow night, Thursday night, WebGeek.ph is hosting a public talk with Bowei, facilitating a panel discussion, and then on Friday morning, private meetings with some startup personalities and investors, and then Friday afternoon at the Idea Space competition.
Wow, that's pretty full.
And then the weekends, still Manila, or?
Saturday morning, maybe some meetings with some startups. It's kind of hard to get a hold of people, so maybe an informal breakfast. So that's a call to action, a little tip for people. We're not going to let him sleep in. And then Saturday afternoon, he flies back to Cebu and some magical beach activity on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
You want to get in touch with startup founders in the Philippines, tell them there's free beer.
Right. Is he gonna
So that's
meet,
Friday night then.
Is he gonna meet anybody in the Cebu startup community?
Yes.
Or is he gonna make the rounds there as well?
Yeah, rounds there as well. Startup founders, even traditional business community, because those are the potential VCs in the future. That's one thing we're trying to encourage.
Right.
And then that's pretty much it. He comes back to Manila to have some time to write the report, in theory. So, and then he departs on Saturday.
And it should be ready, what, in 24 hours? Just like you did for China?
Let's talk about
China's bigger.
the wiki. Let's talk about the wiki maybe.
So actually, the reason why it's taking me so long to write this report is it actually takes a lot of time to gather all the information.
Right.
And this is where the community can really step in and help out. So we, as of yesterday, we actually rewrote the entire wiki website, wiki, to put all the information on a website to have it more up to date, because the report you can only write one every 6 months to a year.
Sure.
So we decided to, and you can only write a little bit, right? You can't write everything, otherwise nobody will read it. So we decided to put together a wiki so everyone can contribute. And right now, if we want to do the Philippines report faster, we really need to get the community to help out and go on worldstartupreport.com, and go to our wiki, because we'll have a list of questions we have for the community.
Yeah.
Like, who are the startups? Like, who are the investors? Who are the incubators? And then a list of all the other questions. If you guys can help me answer those questions, you'll make the report writing process so much easier.
Okay.
So
one cool thing also is Philippines have a represent map.
Represent that.
Proud Cloud.
This is it's called the Represent movement. It started in LA, I think.
Okay.
And it's a map of startups, investors, incubators,
That's perfect.
co-working facilities on a Google map. And it's wiki style as well, so you add yourself on it.
And it's almost, I think, in like very much like startup weekend scene in the same countries, but then like for example in the US you have the LA map, you have Detroit map, Boston, and Jay and the guys at ProudCloud, they ported it the code to Ruby.
That's perfect.
And like you guys have what now, 70 or 80?
Yeah.
On it?
On it, startups, and then events as well are there.
Yeah.
But like I guess you said, you need the community to fit it in.
So one of the most important part of the wiki is this thing called commodity innovation map. So aside from figuring out who are the startups, I also want to figure out who are doing these commodity innovation. I define that. So back in the days, every country will look for resources like gold, like oil, and these things to actually build like a country, right? And then we believe that after you have enough internet penetration, there's going to be a different set of commodities,
Right.
Because everyone needs to get a date.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to travel. Everybody needs to get a car and an apartment, right? So if all these are basic sort of startups, that's going to come up as soon as you have the basic level of, internet penetration. So I want to know who is a leader in dating, who is a leader in social discovery, who's a leader in rental, who's a leader in insurance, let's say, and then I have a list of these categories. I'll tell you who are the leaders in the US. I want to know who are the leaders in this country. And the map is important for a few reasons. Number one, because we know these models are transferable between different countries. It works in the US, and I know for sure you work in a few other countries, so it might work here as well.
Right.
And if there is no one doing it, or if there's not enough competition, maybe you can give some ideas to the local folks here, saying, hey guys, there's a model that works in the US, maybe you can take a look at it, maybe you can try to build something like this. And also at the same time, it's important for the investors as well. Because if the investors look at this and they understand the Yelp of the US, and they see there's no Yelp here, and someone is trying to do something like that,
Then it's frictionless.
It's not frictionless, but it's less friction. They'll be
friction,
more willing to invest in something that they understand. And they can refer to this map to say, here are the opportunities that are still left in this country that we are comfortable investing in. So we believe it can, number one, spur the growth of startups. Number two, spur the growth of investment into a particular country. And that will help drive the local ecosystem. And so that is one of the most important things. And I cannot do that map. I cannot do this mapping of commodity innovation. That's all you guys.
Right.
And so leveraging you guys to help and let you guys help your own community.
So we have 2 more minutes.
Sure.
Usually I always ask at the end punchlines for young founders. Your best tips, and nothing difficult,
Okay.
Like math.
We have a really budding scene here. It's very, very early stage.
Okay.
Your tips.
Okay. Well, when I was really stupid, I follow a simple rule. Okay. I honestly believe that people are equally lucky. Maybe about 1% a chance we do something and boom, it works, right? But the reason why I'm more lucky than other people is that I don't just try once, I try multiple times. Just like the way I tried it with Apple, right? I didn't stop when I got the first rejection email. I just kept going. I kept going until I finished the entire list. There must be 100 emails that I sent out, and then one of them said yes, and then that led me to a success. And then that's happened over and over again. My startup, Car Munch, was not my first startup, not my second startup. I did a few things when I was in school. So if you count all these things together, Car Munch was my 5th startup, and that was my first real success. Even though the one before it was not really real success. So I just tried a lot of times, and I fell very quickly. I realized that I make mistakes very quickly, and then I move on to something else, and then try it again, and then try it again. And statistically, if you try enough times and you're not that dumb, usually you'll get lucky. And once you get lucky, once you'll build your confidence to try more and more in the future, because you know that you can get lucky in the future. So it's like this really good cycle that I put myself in. And I think for young people, I think it's very important for you to just keep trying, doing things like start a weekend, so you can try something in a weekend and see if it works. If it doesn't, try it again next weekend.
Okay, so, I asked for 2 minutes.
Sorry about that.
It's okay, you have other reports to write and everything. You have a lot of inspiration to give. Thanks for coming, Bowei, especially on such short notice after landing. Well, not short notice, but immediately after landing. Thanks for joining us, Tina. Tomorrow we will have the podcast up on the Bobbery as well. I will try to add as many links as I remember. I hope I remember more than 2 after a couple of beers later. And otherwise, thanks to the people at New Media Factory. Check out the other shows soon. There will be 12 shows in total with 6, 5, 4, I know nothing, don't mind me, guys. But there's a new show starting today, I think, if that's wrong, you have been watching it tomorrow, so you have no clue what day today is anyway. And check out the people at Beyond the Box, check out their Facebook page for new promotions. New Media Factory is nmfnetwork.tv. I'm out here.
All right, thank you.
See you guys.